there's a good reason why Israel would want a ceasefire, because they're getting pummeled every single day. And their Iron Dome, their Arrow 3, their David Sling, their THAAD, their Patriot system, all that stuff is only partially successful. They're running low on missiles, and every day those missiles are getting through, causing severe damage. And as I pointed out, it appeared that Iran had the capacity to maintain this indefinitely. And they could come with 20, 30 missiles on a day and be able to cause that kind of damage. Every other day, some kind of consistent path, and Israel couldn't stop it. And they can endure that. Yes, Israel was also throwing lots of missiles at Iran, and they were also being hurt. But Iran probably had a better chance to suck it down because they're a much, much bigger country. Israel has about 6 or 8 million Israeli Jews, and Iran has somewhere around 90 million Persians. So Iran has a lot more capacity, and they can endure a lot more. Their country is spread out. It's harder to hit a lot of this stuff. It's harder to find out where it is. If you're getting into a war, a missile war of attrition over a long period of time, folks, Israel can't handle that. We can't handle that. We can't do it. And it could be, and this is something that we need a little more information out, but the evidence, early evidence, suggests that Trump may be doing the same thing he did in the Houthi war, where we were trying to keep the Red Sea open. We went in this big splashy missile strikes and all these declarations of what we were going to do. And then 30 days later, we started counting the costs and going, yeah, this ain't working. We're done. And we just called it in, washed our hands of it, and went on. We did not defeat the Houthis. They still have their capacity. Everything is still valid and viable in that part of the world. We just stopped shooting. They even actually still were blocking some of the traffic in the Red Sea. Maybe it's a similar situation here where Trump realized, oh snap, I can't engage in a long-term open-ended conflict here. If Iran doesn't give up, then I'm going to have to keep doing what I said and just keep lobbing missile after missile. So I think it's very plausible that Trump signaled to Iran, hey, you know what? Let's just get this deal off the table. Okay? I'm going to launch some missiles here. They're going to hit these 3 sites. They're coming. You can fire something back after that into Al Udeid Air Base in Qatar, and don't hit anything important. We'll be shooting down, and then we'll just call it a day, and it's a win-win for both of us. Wouldn't it all surprise me if that happens? We don't have enough information yet, so I can't say with any authority. But evidence does lead one to believe, because Trump openly talked that this stuff was coordinated, and it's not unlikely that the other one's coordinated, especially when we have the pre-existing effort in the Red Sea, that's how Trump is operating in. Because I can tell you, whether he thought it or not, we can't continue on with this. If Iran were to have hit our troops and then we had to escalate, now that you can't back down from that, and we don't have the capacity to go on. And if Iran did like the Houthis did, who sucked down a decade of these missiles and never buckled, and they're a much larger country, much more capable, have many more resources, etc. There's every reason to think that Iran could do much more than the Houthis could. Because again, I told you, Iran, they just had to survive. But Israel had to succeed, or it's going to have all the war that they've done and all the things they've been, this unprovoked attack that they did against Iran is going to be meaningless. And that's where we're at right now. We'll see if this actually comes to pass. We'll see if tomorrow, if really everybody's missiles go silent, and if that really is the end of the deal. Now, of course, Israel still has the Hamas war going, so we'll see if it has any effect on that. They're still fighting a lot in the West Bank, etc. And the Houthis is still going on, because the Houthis issue was tied to Hamas, the Palestinian people, not to anything going on in Iran. We'll see if that stops too. So Israel's not out of the woods yet. But it looks like Trump's trying to get himself extricated after looking splashy. Of course, he's going to want to come out looking good. He's going to make everybody think that he was good, etc. We'll see how it's going to go on. But I'm just telling you, this is still very tenuous, and we won't know for some time probably what happened to all that nuclear material when it was taken out of these sites. It's also quite possible, back to my previous theory, that coordination was going on, and that's the reason why they took that stuff out of there. because they knew where the strikes were going to come, so they got the stuff out. They knew when they were going to come, so they took all that stuff out. Or else they were just lucky. Don't have enough information yet to say. But what we can say is something was going on there. Lots of trucks going out, and they said openly, both before and after, that they had moved a lot of that stuff out. Where is it now? If Israel says their objective was to make sure that Iran is non-nuclear, well, Trump declared that it was totally destroyed with no evidence. He has no idea. Until somebody can go down in those sites, especially Fordo, and see what actually happened under the ground, nobody in the West can say, much less hours after it happened or minutes after it happened. So you need to just dismiss that at the surface, because there's no chance that's true. He has no idea. Could well be when somebody gets down there. I doubt it very seriously. Watch Ted Post's video to explain why that probably is. But we'll wait and see, because again, we don't have any information here, so later on it could be changed. But it does appear that they did get that stuff out there, and then you've got to ask, where is that? What's going to happen to it, and what is going to happen to the Iranian regime? Because there is every reason for them to calculate and conclude that the only way they can guarantee their national security is to rush to a bomb. Wherever that stuff is gone, it's almost certainly out of IAEA control now. No more of the people that are monitoring this stuff, they probably don't have access to it now, because Iran probably moved it somewhere that was secure. Now they may go to a bomb.